square roots. In order to find out square roots easily, we must learn or mug up a table that will help us in finding square roots faster. So the table is as, suppose the square is ending with a number and it has a root which ends with another number. Fine. So if the number whose square root we are supposed to find is ending with 1, it will have a root that will end with either 1 or 9. If we have a number whose square root is supposed to be found and it is ending with 4, then it will have a root which will end with either 2 or 8. If the square is ending in 9, then the root will end in 3 or 7. If the square ends in 6, the root will end in 4 or 6. If the square ends in 5, the root will end in 5. Now observe something. 1, if you do 10's complement of 1, you get 9. If you get 10's complement of 8, you get 2. And if you get 2's complement of 10, you get 8. So it's really easy to remember. If you do 10's complement of 5, you get 5. So it's really easy. So that way you can remember the table, which will help you in finding square roots. Now if you're supposed to find square root of a 4-digit number, it will have a minimum root with 2 digits. Suppose the general law is, if you have a number that has n digits, then its root will have either n by 2 or n plus 1 by 2 digits. If a number that has n digits whose square root is supposed to be found, then its root will have either n by 2 or n plus 1 by 2 digits. Now let's jump into solving them. So if we have a number, there are certain steps to solve a number or to find the square root of a number easily. Fine. Now suppose the number is 6241. Fine. We break it up into 2 parts, where the first part is the last 2 digit, that is 41, and the first part is the remaining 2 digits. Fine, that is 62. Now if we remember the table of square roots, that way if we remember the table of square roots and we compare that 62, it is 62, it is less than 64, and it is greater than 49. Now 49 is 7 square, 64 is 8 square. Therefore it lies between 7 square and 8 square. Therefore this number will have a square root of, will have a root whose first digit is 7. Fine, as it is less than, we are not going for the greater than, we will always go for the less than. Therefore this number will have a root whose first digit is going to be 7. Now we have to find the other number which will form the complete root, right? So in order to find that, what we have to do is the number that you just found out, which is 7, add 1 to it. Fine, which is 8. Now to this multiply the number which you had found out, which is actually 7 plus 1 into 7, okay, which is equals to 56. Fine. Now you find out this number, or you do directly 7 plus 1 8 and then into 7, which is 56. Compare this number with this number, or the first two digits of the square root that you are finding out. 56 is less than 62. Now as this number is ending in 1, it has two possibilities. It can have either 1 as the root or 9 as the root, right? To choose one of these two, we need to compare this one. If the product is less than the number, then we choose the greater one. Fine, that is 9. Then we choose the greater of the two possible choices. And if the product is greater than the number, which is 62, if it is greater than the number, if it would have been greater than the number, then we would have chosen lesser of the possible choices. Fine. So here, as 56 is less than 62, we choose 9. Therefore, the answer will be 79. The square root of 6241 is going to be 79. Now let's do it with another number. Let's do it for the number 4096. Similarly, we split it up into two parts. Fine, first one is 40, second one is 96. Now 40, if you compare it with the table of squares, it is 40. Fine, 40 is less than 49 and it is greater than 36. 36 is 6 square and 49 is 7 square. Therefore this lies between 6 square and 7 square. So we'll take the least one, that is the first number that will form the root of the number whose square root we are finding is 6. Fine. So the first number of the root is going to be 6. Now as 96 ends with 6, the second number that will form the root can have two possibilities. It can either be 4 or it can be 6. Now in order to choose this, we'll again have to use the same comparison method. So we'll take this number, that is 6, we'll add 1 to it. Fine. And with it we'll multiply the same number that we found out. So that is going to be 7 6 42. Now we'll have to compare this number and this number. So 42 here is greater than 40. Therefore the product is greater than the number. If the product is greater than the number, we choose the lesser of the one, we choose the lesser choice. And if the product is lesser than the number, we choose the greater of the choices. It's like inverse. If the product is greater than the number, we choose the lesser of the choice. If the product is lesser than the number, then we choose the greater of the choices. Here the product is greater than the number, so we will choose lesser of the choices. So therefore the root for this number is going to be 64. Fine, it's easy as that. When the square has 5 or 6 figures, we know that the root will have 3, minimum 3, right? Therefore, in order to remember, in order to find out square roots of numbers up to 40,000, fine, it's not a small number, it's a huge number. To find out square roots of numbers up to 40,000, we have to just remember a table again, the table of squares. That is, for 11 it is 1 to 1, for 12 it is 144. This is the number and this is its square. Fine. For 13 it is 169, for 14 it is 196, for 15 it is 225, for 16 it is 256, for 17 it is 289, for 18 it is 324, for 19 it is 361, and for 20 it has to be 400. Fine. Just remember this table and we can find out square roots of numbers up to 40,000 easily. Fine. Just remember this table. Now let's try finding out the square root of a bigger number. Let's take 15129. Fine. This is the number whose square root we're going to find out. Now again, group it into two parts, where one part will have the last two digits and another part will have the remaining digits. So it's going to be 151 and 29. Now here we can check easily that 151 is less than 169 and it is greater than 144, which is 12 square and this is 13 square. Therefore this number will have a root whose first two digits are going to be 12. As we used to take the least number, so here also we are also again taking the least number, that is 12. Now to find the number that will form the rest of the root, the rest of the part of the root, we'll have to consider this digit. Here it is 9, so 9 can have a root with two possibilities, that is either 3 or 7. Now again we'll use the same technique to find out which one, either 3 or 7, will be placed here. Fine. For that, what we do is we take this number 12, we add 1 to it and multiply it with the very same number, that is 12, which is going to be 13 into 12, which is equals to 156. Now we'll compare this number with this number as we used to do with the first pair. Now 156 is greater than 151. The product is greater than the number. Therefore what we do is we use the inverse law again. If the product is greater than the number, we choose the lesser one, that is 3. Therefore the root for 15129 is simply 123. That's how we find it.